Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome to the channel. We are going to be looking today at Alien Flora for your tabletop. Please, before we start, take a moment to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's going really well. And I'm hoping to, like I say, monetize this channel. And that will help to subsidize some of the games that I buy and the miniatures that I buy. Anyway, welcome, and let's get on with the bloody video, shall we? Now, intro, disclaimer. Let me first say that the Mantic TerrainCrate 3 does look amazing. The basic pledge price on Kickstarter is around $60. That's for a single crate, a single pack of goodies. But here's the thing, shipping to my part of the world, to this region, is going to be between $37 to $55, which is a total of around, I don't know, $100 to $115. Wow. Nope. Now, it is a Kickstarter, so there'll be plenty of freebies during the campaign, but, still, that's a pretty hefty chunk of cash. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a very attractive product. And I do like Mantic. I have a ton of Mantic stuff back when I could afford the Kickstarters and the shipping, and back when I used to buy from my local game shops. But this TerrainCrate 3 would be an amazing addition for science fiction games like 40K, Firefight, Infinity, etc., etc. And I do think it's a good product. I really, really do. But I can also see this as being very suitable for fantasy games. I mean, who's to say that every fantasy world has modern Earth-like flora? Not every fantasy world or sci-fi world is going to have oak trees and deciduous coniferous trees and all that sort of jazz. It's very likely that sci-fi worlds, fantasy game worlds have very different trees, plants, and shrubberies. Which can be it can be represented by Mantic's TerrainCrate. It does have a good range of models. It does have a pretty hefty amount inside the box, plus of course the Kickstarter bonuses. There's also a decent range of models, including some big uns. So I mean, if you can afford it, if you have the money, if you live in a region where the shipping is more affordable, like the UK, I do recommend you give this product a look, either during the Kickstarter, which I think at the time of recording this, I think it has 4 more days, so you've got to be quick, or when the Kickstarter finishes, you'll be able to get from Mantic directly or from Mantic suppliers or retailers. Yeah, don't forget to support your local game shops. They, you go there to play, you need to make sure they can survive, yeah? However, looking at that price, and especially the shipping to this part of the world in Southeast Asia, I really do have to ask, is there an alternative? Especially for those of us who dwell outside of the UK or the US. Ronnie, I did see a video featuring Ronnie, who's the boss, the Mantic boss, and he was saying that I don't think he saw much sci-fi Flora products. He was also talking about how he was making it more affordable than the 3D printing, the STL files. Well, I don't know about that, because once you factor in shipping, I don't honestly think it is cheaper. We always have the backup, the aquarium plants that sometimes do look sci-fi and weird. But I would like to recommend an alternative or an addition to the Mantic pack. Like I say, especially for those of us who can't afford the Kickstarter and the shipping. A while back, I did find some Alien Flora STLs. And these were on the website Cults 3D. And they were uploaded by a user named Grim Greeble. I'll put the link in the description. Now, On Grim Greeble's page on Cults 3D, he has uploaded about 50 plus different models there. I think the earliest was in 2019. I think the latest was middle of this year, 2022. And they are all free downloads. So immediately that takes away part of the cost. Being STLs, you can rescale them as you need, make them smaller, make them bigger. You can also print out as many as you want, obviously, for a cost, the cost of the material, the resin, or the, is it PLA that they use for the other printers? Also, you can pick and choose the ones you want. Now, with the TerrainCrate, you're basically buying a big pack and you have whatever's in the box. If you don't like some of the designs, well, tough, it's in the box, But with these STLs, you can kind of pick the ones you want. And with 50 different models from Grim Greeble, you've got a pretty good range. Now, some of his models I don't like, but I have printed out a bunch already over the last couple of days because I was looking at the Mantic Kickstarter and I was really looking going, you know what, I wish I could pay for this. I wish I had the budget to pay for this and the shipping. And I kind of remembered, you know what, I think I've got some STLs. I think I downloaded some a while back. So over the last couple of days, I have actually been printing, or over the last couple of evenings, I have actually been printing a few of these Grim Greeble alien plants. So I'm going to show you some examples of the ones that I've actually printed out so you can see, like I say, an alternative to the Mantic or an addition to the Mantic TerrainCrate. So let's take a look at some of the ones I've printed. Right, behind these Mantic vermine, which I painted up and used for 5 parsecs, you can see some of the smaller plants or the smaller prints that I have done from the Grim Greeble downloads. You can also see here, I've actually done at different scales. The one on the left, I think, is 100%. The one on the right, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was 80%. So like I say, you can rescale. You can make them bigger. It all depends on the size of your 3D printer and how long you want to take. I mean, there was one batch, I'll show you the miniature in a minute. It was actually an 11-hour print. My God. Anywho, you have a bunch of these Flora plant files that can, I mean, this one could even be painted up as a creature. Yeah, with the sort of head here, the tail here. I mean, if you play a game called Warframe, this could represent one of those, is it desert skates, the ones that hide under the ground? But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good. A bit small. I think maybe a scatter terrain, this would be fine. But I mean, again, I might scale this up maybe to 150% and see how it looks. Again, some of these files, when you scale them up, they don't always look as good. You lose some of the detail, and it looks a little bit rough, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I printed off, I think, 4 of these. What do we have here? This is another quite nice one. It's like a flowering plant, but I can see it. I can see this maybe as some kind of dynamic plant where it will whip out at you. So I did, I think, 2 of those. These ones, I printed 1 small and 2 sort of normal size, 100%. Again, quite nice. You can paint these up to be quite vibrant, I think, with the little eggs or blobs or orbs or whatever they are. I don't know whether, like in a game, maybe you can have some custom rules where you can actually pluck those orbs and use them as explosives, maybe? Or if you're near to one of these trees, near a blast explosion or an area effect weapon, maybe this will explode as well. Custom rules. And then the last one here, a bit more simple, but again, painted up. And again, I'll put some pictures up as I'm showing these, because I haven't painted these up, but on the website, the Cults 3D website, there are pictures of these painted up, I think, by the creator. So I'll put those up while I'm showing you these guys. Yeah, just so as a reference, so you don't just see the plastic, just the plain grey. You're actually seeing what they could look like when they're painted up. But yeah, all of these are, again, with the exception of this one's at 80%. I think this was 80% as well, this one. But these are some of the more small designs. And again, pretty good as Flora or terrain scatter. Let me now show you some of the bigger ones. ones. Right, this one's a little bit chunkier, a little bit bigger. Again, I think this was at 100%. So again, you can always scale it up to make it even bigger. I think this is currently about 3 inches. About, yeah, there you go, you can see it now. It's just under 3 inches, maybe 2 3/4 inches at the moment. You can always scale it up to be bigger, not a problem. I even use graphics software to split it into pieces and print it off in pieces so you can have a mega plant. But I think this is the one they call the Orcish Christmas tree. Again, I'll put a picture up of one of these that's actually painted up. But again, it's very, very nice. Now, some of these will come hollow or with a hole in to allow a little bit of air, to help you with the curing. But yeah, looks pretty good. Here is another chunky one. This again is quite a nice design. Again, painted up. Again, I'll show you a picture of the painted one. Look pretty good. This one's large enough to be a decent amount of cover. And again, I think, if I remember correctly, I made this 110%, I think, a little bit bigger, just to fill up the build plate. But again, you put a bunch of these on the tabletop, all painted up, they're going to look amazing. Detail is pretty good. Let's have a bit of a closer look. On some of the models, the detail's a little bit plain, a little bit sparse, but these ones are not too bad. Again, that sharpness isn't really a concern when you're dealing with Flora. To be honest, I don't think that's too much of a concern, but I think this will be quite nice when it's all painted up. So there's that one. Here's another one. I printed off 2 of these because I really like the way they look with the ribs inside and the thorns on the bottom. And again, I really like the design of these. I printed out 2 at 100%. This is 100% size. I might try and print out a bit bigger, as big as I can on my printer, I think, because I really do like this particular design. Can't remember what this one was called. I think it was the Wasteland something, but it's a really nice design. One word of warning: you'll notice that a lot of these models, if not all of them, have these like roots, bloody roots, coming out from the bottom of the model. These you have to be very careful when you're doing the supports and removing the supports. I did have some examples, as you can see here, where the roots, bloody roots, broke off. So yeah, you've got to be a little bit careful with some of these. Some of the roots can be a little bit delicate. But again, once I've painted all these, I'll probably base them on. I'm not too sure what I'm going to base them on because some of them are pretty big. But yeah, this is a nice one. I've got 2 of these. Right, this is the last design that oh, hang on a sec. This one's a little bit bigger. Let's zoom the right way. Boing, 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 boing. Boing, boing. Come on. Doesn't want to zoom out anymore. Okay, so we'll have to raise the camera a little bit. There you go. He's all in picture now. This is the last design that I've printed out for the moment. Like I say, there's 50 different designs. I printed out how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I printed out 8 different designs, and this is the 8th and last one that I'm going to show you. I did multiples of a bunch of them. But yeah, this one's, as you can see, a lot taller. This is the one that actually took 11.5 hours to print. You don't print them straight like this because of the problem with the suction on the flip, so you got to angle it. So even it's not exactly as high as it is, but angling it, still takes a long time. But this is a nice tall plant with spikes. Now again, this one you can rescale, you can make it smaller, you can even make it bigger if you want to. I think for this particular design there are 3 variants, 3 variations on the spiky parts, whether you just have the sort of pod part empty here, you don't have the spikes. You can have smaller spikes, I think bigger spikes. But again, this is a really nice model. And again, it would look really good on the tabletop once it's painted up. Again, I'll put a picture up so you can see the painting. In terms of details, the details are actually not bad. Not bad at all. Again, for free files, it's actually not bad at all. It comes out really nice. You can always play with the scales. If you want it to be a bit fatter, you can always play with the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, not just narrow it necessarily to make them taller or shorter, but also to make them fatter and chunkier. But yeah, this is a very tall one, which again would look really good on the battlefield when it's all painted up. So, I mean, this is what I printed out over 2 evenings, 15 models in total, 8 different designs out of the 50 plus that he has to download for free. Now, in terms of money, well, my slicer, Chitubox, does have, when you do the slicing, it does actually give you an approximate cost in terms of material, in terms of resin. And these 15 models here, again, we'll put a couple of vermine on here, just to give you an idea of scale. They're not as big as some of the ones in the Mantic crate. I think some of the ones in the Mantic crate are like 6 inches tall or something. So these aren't as tall as those, but perfectly usable in games. And like I say, it would be good, like I say, as an alternative or as an addition to the Mantic TerrainCrate. But these 15... Let's move these out of the way a little bit. There you go. These 15 plants that I printed up, yeah, that you see right in front of you here, took about 2 evenings, and the total cost in resin was $9.30. Yep, $9.30. Now, that's material cost. If you want to add in time, if you want to cost utilities as well, obviously it's going to be higher, but purely on a material costing, $9.30 gives you all of these models here in terms of resin. Now, I tend to have a habit of over-supporting. I normally put too many supports because I'm worried about the prints failing or falling off. So I tend to put on too many supports. So if you are a good, experienced 3D printer who's better at supporting models than I am and can get away with minimal supports, obviously it's going to cost a hell of a lot less. But to get this lot for $9.30, $9 I think it's pretty damn good. I've got to try some of the other designs. But like I say, if I could get the TerrainCrate for cheaper or without the shipping costs, like I say, it would be a purchase. It would definitely be a purchase. It is a really good pack, but like I say, I can't afford it, so this is what I have to make do. And Ronnie's saying that it's cheaper than STLs. Well, yeah, if you live in the UK. So, is it a fair comparison between these models, the Grim Greeble files and Mantic's TerrainCrate? Nah, maybe not. It may not be a fair comparison. I'm sure that the Mantic models would be really, really nice. And like I said, I think they're modular, so you can change the designs and stuff. I'm not trying to make a true comparison and tell you which one's better than the other, because I wouldn't say that one's better than the other. I think they would be awesome on their own or combined together onto a tabletop. Amazing. I'm just offering options. That's it. I recommend these STLs simply because of the fact that I don't have to pay a fortune in shipping. So I'm just putting it out there as an option, as an alternative, or as an expansion on Mantic's TerrainCrate, which is finishing soon on Kickstarter. So if you want to get into it quick. If you're watching this video after the Kickstarter, have a look on the Mantic website and see if you can get the TerrainCrate from there. But these ones, Cults 3D, you can download the files, look for Grim Greeble. And like I say, I've found them very, very nice, and I'm going to paint these and start using them in my sci-fi and fantasy games. So if you have a 3D printer or know somebody who has one, this could be an attractive alternative option or addition to the Mantic TerrainCrate. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Plenty more to come on 3D printing for the tabletop and of course more games. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm really trying to get 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Spread the word if you enjoyed it. So remember to check the channel for videos that you may have missed. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. Cheers.